Hi, it's Hope from Under the Median. Today we're going to create a delicious summer salad. Everybody knows that my personal goal is to waste no more than 2.5% to 3% of everything that comes into my home. So sometimes that means being a little creative when people drop by and say, would you like some cucumbers?
Or tomatoes.
Or tomatoes. And so sometimes, and it's wonderful, I love it when people share their garden produce with me, and I assure them I am going to use it. So I created this salad because oftentimes you wind up with a lot of cucumbers somewhere in the middle of the summer. I have 3 cucumbers for this salad, and I went ahead and peeled them. I do not mind the outside peel of a cucumber. Some people find it a little distracting, that they find the texture a little bit not to their liking, or they find that it's a little bit bitter. So for this video, I went ahead and I peeled it. We also have 4 tomatoes, various size tomatoes, a half of a white onion, and 2 cloves of garlic. So that is going to comprise the body of our salad. This salad is very much like, you remember going to family get-togethers in the middle of summer, and your grandmother always brought the amazing marinated vegetable salad. This is like that, but I wanted to update it with a little bit of a twist. So instead of a basic vinaigrette, we're going to create a salad dressing that has lime in it. So it's like a lime vinaigrette that goes over the top of it. We have, well, we'll talk about the ingredients for the salad dressing in just a second. So we are going to start chopping, theoretically. And while I am chopping, I will talk a little bit. One of the questions that I received recently was a question about how you get produce and then how you actually find the produce to set aside for winter. Because one of the things I'm really big on is buying produce when it's fresh, when it's in season, buying locally as often as I can from local small farmers, and then setting that produce aside for the winter. Somehow putting it in the freezer or dehydrating it. I have done a little bit of canning, but to be honest, canning, my hat's off to you who can. Because canning is a lot of hard, hot work, especially when you're doing it in the summer and you're heating up your house and you're heating up your kitchen, and it's a lot of work. So although I still have my canner and I have my jars, I don't can too much anymore. I tend to freeze stuff when I can. I do have a dehydrator. Dehydrating apples, for instance, is super easy. And apples, especially like when it's in the middle of winter and not apple season, those are really good.
Oh, and the apple saucer is also very helpful.
And we have an apple saucer too, so that, I mean, basically when we do applesauce, we don't cut off the outside peel, or, I mean, I quarter it, I throw it into the big container, and I cook it down, and then I put it through the saucer. So, my sous chef, he's really sensitive to onions. Okay, so when you do a cucumber, if you leave the seeds in, then it is going to add some moisture to this finished salad. And so it's so easy just to take a regular spoon and go right down. I'll turn it this way so you can kind of see what I'm doing. At least I hope you can. This is awkward.
Do you need help?
You're going to take, no, it's very awkward. There we go. Perfect. And you're just going to take your spoon and go right down the center. Look, it's flying off. I'm going to have to wash the floor when we're done now. You can just take the seeds out of the inside really easily, and then before you cut it into chunks. So back to where I get produce to set aside for the winter. One of the things I really recommend people do is visit your farmer's market regularly. I was at the farmer's market this morning, and my favorite farmer had large, and I mean large, containers of greens, of beautiful mustard greens, and also some turnip greens, big baskets full for $5 to $10 for the whole basket. And so anytime you can get that. Now when you're going to put greens away for the winter, you can literally just slice greens and stick them in a freezer bag and stick them in the freezer. And I do not do that very often because it takes up a lot of space when you do it that way, because you still have the bulk of the greens intact, so it's gonna take up a lot of your freezer space. So I stick them in a little bit of water, cook them down, and they're gonna cook down just like spinach does, and you're gonna wind up with this little bitty pile of greens from a large amount of greens. It's gonna cook down really quickly. And don't overcook it though, because you're gonna freeze it, which means you're going to cook it again. And anytime you're going to cook something again, you don't want to overcook it, because then if you put it in the freezer and it's overcooked, you thaw it, you stick it in something, you cook it again, it's going to be really overcooked by the time you get done. So you want to make sure that you sweat them down, but not so much. And in fact, if they're still a little bright green, that's perfect. So you're going to let them cool, put them in 1 cup increments into baggies. Make sure you label them. You would be amazed at how many times I have gotten into the freezer in the middle of winter to make soup, and I want some greens on top because it adds incredible nutrition to your soups. Greens are like one of the healthiest things available on planet Earth. So I get in there to find that I've not properly labeled my greens, and I have absolutely no idea what it is. I'm like, oh, look, it's green. Let's put it on top. It's gonna be good. And I have no idea. I have no idea what kind of green I'm adding to the top of my soup. So do make sure that you use some marker and you label your greens. All right, so this is looking very colorful. We're gonna just finish this last cucumber here. I'll set one to the side and won't do it on camera because this is getting a little bit. Did I finish? I didn't finish answering the question.
No.
So you're going to get to know your organic farmer, and you are going to go to the farmer's market, and you're going to find amazing deals. You also, it is okay to ask graciously, do you offer a discount if I buy in bulk? And a lot of farmers will say, of course I will, and they'll give you a 10% discount or so. Ooh, thank you. They'll give you a little bit of a discount, which is great. And a lot of times, especially if you have forged a personal relationship with them, they will graciously give you a little bit of a break if you're going to buy some of their produce in bulk to put it away for winter. So that's my first tip. My second tip is always buy your fruits and vegetables seasonally. That is going to be the lowest price that you can get. For instance, I don't like to pay more than $1 a pound for strawberries. In the middle of winter, those strawberries are going to be $3 a pound or $3.50 a pound. But in the spring and the early summer, the grocery stores are going to buy a whole lot of those strawberries, and they're going to plummet the prices to about $1 a pound. So when they do that, I might go in and buy a flat or a half a flat of strawberries, and then I'm going to cut the tops off, put them on a large baking sheet, stick them in my freezer and flash freeze them. So when you flash freeze, you're freezing individual berries. You freeze them in a single layer on a baking sheet in the freezer. Once they are solid, you can easily take them off. I freeze them on parchment paper, so you can pick up the edges of the parchment paper, put it together to form a funnel, and literally just pour the berries through that parchment paper funnel into a large freezer bags, and then stick it in your freezer. So in the middle of winter, I'm still eating strawberries that cost me $1 a pound.
It's wonderful. All
right, I'm going to smash up, last thing to go on the salad. I love to smash garlic. There's something just soul satisfying, isn't there? About taking the edge of a knife and smashing garlic. Yes, I really do. I have a garlic press, but I don't know. There's something I really like about just, I like cutting it up by hand. It doesn't bother me, the smell of the garlic in my hands. I figure garlic has like medicinal value, so I think, okay, if the garlic is on my fingers, maybe it's going into my system and it's helping my immune system. Who knows?
Or charismatic.
I don't know whether it's psychosomatic or not, but I don't mind the smell of garlic on my hands. So, all right, and I'm going to use one of these spoons to spoon this. This is two cloves of garlic. All right, so we have our basic salad made, and we made it. I'm going to move this out of the way now. We made it in a big glass bowl so you can see how pretty, and we'll move that out of the way. All right.
Now
We're going to give this a little bit of a stir. And I don't know if you can see all those pretty colors. And I will tell you that personally, I like to add a little bit of fresh green pepper to this salad. My husband is not a fan.
Yeah.
So for his sake, I am not going to add green pepper. But I think we can turn that like that.
Yep.
And you can see it's really pretty. Now we're going to create the vinaigrette. And I'm going to hand that to Daniel. I have one of these old-fashioned. These things are great. If you find these at thrift stores, get one because they work fantastically.
they're not as good for lemons because you got the seeds in there, but it's not that hard to remove them.
Yeah. So I happen to really enjoy using an old-fashioned reamer, and I have a reamer helper that's going to do that for me. All right. So while he is doing that, I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons. I'm going to shake this first. This is just rice vinegar. You can get this inexpensively. The least expensive place I have found it locally is Big Lots. You can get this bottle for about $2 of rice wine vinegar. And when you look for rice wine vinegar, make sure you look for the rice vinegar that is sodium free. If you look at the top here, I don't know if you can see it, but it says sodium free, sugar free. There you go. There are two kinds of rice wine vinegar. The other one is seasoned with sodium. If you want sodium, you can add sodium. You don't need a manufacturer to have pre-added it for you. Because if you look on the back here, it says sodium, 0 milligrams. If you look at the one that has sodium added, it is a lot. It is hundreds of milligrams of sodium per tablespoon of rice wine vinegar. So I can use this. 1 tablespoon of this rice wine vinegar has 0 milligrams of sodium. So if you are watching the sodium in your diet, make sure that you label read so you know what you're getting. So I'm going to add, I eyeball everything, but okay, we're going to call that 2 tablespoons. 2 generous tablespoons. And how are we doing?
Yeah, generally what I like to do after I ream the lime is to squeeze it so I can get all the excess juice out of it.
Okay. I'm going to add
Here you go.
a little bit of onion. All right, that is 3 limes. Now I know that seems like a lot.
Yeah, let's just see out of curiosity how
And
much
I'm going to
this is.
say it's not quite half a cup of lime juice. Generally what I do is put the lime juice in and then add enough. I add 2 tablespoons of the rice wine vinegar, and then I'm going to add just enough liquid so that it goes up to the 1/2 cup line. I'm going to grab some water. There we go. All right. Here, you can just set those over there. All right, and I'm going to eyeball this. There we go. And I'm adding just enough. So you have a 1/2 cup of liquid here. So that's what you're looking for. Now we're going to add some onion powder. I've got 1/2 of it. That's a quarter, sorry. I almost had you add in a lot more onion powder. Okay, so that's 2/4 teaspoons of onion powder. So that is a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder.
How much of the syrup do you want?
And you know what? I really am seriously going to get a tablespoon to measure the, I'm not going to eyeball the maple syrup. I'll get it.
It's okay.
Or he'll walk through and get it. All right. And we're going to add, why am I having trouble getting this? There we go. All right.
Teaspoon or
So-
tablespoon?
A tablespoon.
Okay.
So my general rule of thumb is I add about half as much garlic powder as I do onion powder because garlic powder is a lot. Okay, and we're going to add a couple of tablespoons of pure maple syrup. Perfect. Now, you can use cane sugar in this recipe if you want. You might have to add, I think maple syrup here, I'll let you whisk it. I think maple syrup is actually a lot sweeter than cane sugar. If you are going to purchase sugar, it is worth the price to pay a little bit more to get pure cane sugar. I purchase pure cane sugar and I wait for it to go on sale and then I purchase it. If you are purchasing something that just says sugar on it, you're purchasing a product that is made from sugar beets. And 98% of the sugar beets grown in the United States of America are a GMO product. So if you're trying to stay away from GMOs, then the only real adequate way to do that is to purchase cane sugar. And if you do that, then the sugar cane is not a GMO product and you're getting something that is maybe a little healthier for you. I know that there's a debate on that and there's a lot of different viewpoints, but for the price difference, if I can avoid it, I do. All right, so this is a testing spoon. What's it need?
It's interesting. It's not how it usually is, though.
Oh.
It's kind of tangy.
Oh, it's really good. It's got that tangy sweet, and you can really taste the lime in it.
Yeah.
I like it. Do we need to add anything? A little more maple syrup. Okay, that is a separate testing spoon he put in there. We started the video with like 6 testing spoons. I like it the way it is. I don't think it needs any more maple syrup. Kind of do your sugar to taste. All right, so we are going to put this over the top and then give it a stir. I do not add oil to my summer salads. Look, oil is a processed product. It's not, when you eat an olive, you're eating all the original nutrients that God created in that olive. You're getting the fiber in that olive. You're getting everything that is inherently in that olive. When you're eating olive oil, you're eating a processed product in which all of that has been concentrated into a product that is 100 calories per tablespoon of pure fat. So regardless of whether you're trying to eat a diet that is Mediterranean diet or whether you're avoiding butter and the saturated fat that's in butter, you have to realize that anything that is an oil is 100 calories a tablespoon. And it's also a pure fat. So I avoid that completely by you saw that I added just a little bit of water to get it up to that ½ cup mark. And I guarantee you will not notice that this does not have any oil in it. Oh goodness, I'm a little wild. Okay, so this is our summer salad. I'll let him turn that so you can see it. And that is the summer salad, cucumber salad with the lime vinaigrette. I will post the recipe on the blog so that you can download it. I'll make it a PDF, a downloadable PDF, so you can get that there. So happy eating and happy end of the summer. This is Hope and Daniel from Under the Median.